without infrastructure would be the less successful of the day, but thank you for making it. And hopefully I will try to keep you awake and interested. Today I'm going to tell you why I am here, why I have been asked to talk. And I will try to explore a little bit with you the notion of peripherality, connectivity, accessibility. What you have to keep in mind is that I'm not here with silver bullets. I'm not here with miracle solutions, otherwise I would be living somewhere in the Caribbean islands and I would be very, very rich. But I'm here to trigger a debate with you, so feel free to question what I'm saying to you. So that's a part of my presentation that I call the usual propaganda. What am I here? I'm the Secretary General of an organization called the Airport Regions Conference. These are local governments, cities, regions, municipalities that have an airport on their territories. So initially, we were a club for the very big airport regions. You know, regions that are hosting little things like Charles de Gaulle, London Heathrow, Schiphol. But little by little, we have enlarged our membership to smaller airport regions. And when we're talking about peripherality, our most recent member is the city of Finland, but really very, very much in the north of the country. So that's not where I'm going to lead. So, what we are here for, we stand for the quality of life. That's what we want in regions. Planning, which means we are interested in spatial planning, air traffic management, and on optimal land use. We are also concerned by the recognition of our concern, be heard, have our vocation, our voice in the aviation debate listened to. We are also doing economic development, for which we think that specific investments are needed, where we are interested in employment, employability, and last but not least on the environmental issues, which in an airport regions decline, and you hear a lot of that in the news at the moment, the question of noise, ground noise, etc. So that's what we are here for, and I was very happy to hear the mayor today also say that Tbilisi stands for the quality of life. I think everybody, any politician is there for the quality of life. In an airport regions, it takes different aspects. And the key, as was mentioned this morning, is always the governance. So that's over with what I am and why the Tbilisi city thought I could be qualified to tell you about connectivity. So who is peripheral in the European Union? When I was a student, we were told about what is called the blue banana. Has anyone heard of the blue banana? No, okay, I'm getting really old, so my student concepts are over. That's the blue banana. That was the most densely populated area where the part of Europe that you could see from the moon because there was so much light, so much economic development. So basically, 20 years ago, that's it, I've said it how old I am. 20 years ago, everything that was not in the blue banana was considered as peripheral. And some of the region got quite a lot of money to get out of those peripheral states. But it's no longer the case, it was 20 years ago. So the real question at stake now is Europe peripheral? Who is peripheral in Europe? What does it mean? So I have groundbreaking news for you today. It's that the Earth is a globe. There is no square, there is no corner where you can actually define peripheral. So everybody in Europe and in the world is peripheral. One of the joy of my jobs is that I'm invited to speak in conference like this one today, and very often I'm living in St. Martin in the Fields and I can tell you that it's the center of the world. Or I'm living in Asparagus over the mountain, it's also the center of the world. Of course, the globe is Earth. So does the notion of peripheral, of central, mean anything nowadays? I don't think so. I think what is really important to trigger the economic development, which is the theme of our workshop today, is the mobility. As local government, we want mobility, whatever the mode is, the transport mode is. And mobility means that you have sufficient number of destinations that are served directly or that are served with a convenient correspondence, convenient frequencies, convenient schedules. Really the best way to attract business traveler? I don't know. I don't think so. And the number of jargon, they call that the connectivity issue. What does it mean in the daily life of a citizen? So I've been playing a little bit with internet, and I went out to the French example. Sorry, nobody's perfect, I'm French. So if you want to buy something in France and you're living in France, according to Google, you have 48 million options when you're typing delivery cost in France. When you're living in an island, which is called Corsica, which is very, very beautiful, and you want to have something delivered there, you are, with the keywords delivery cost and Corsica, you then have only 2 million possibilities. If you say, okay, I want to have something delivered and I'm ready to pay more, then you have 800,000 options, which you can really show that just with a simple Google search, you see that it's less connected. Or you can also not be delivered at all. If you ask delivery cost, not Corsica, then you have, I think it's 60,000 of people who are already saying on their website that they are anyway not delivering Corsica. And I've tried to buy things on 1 or 2 items of the companies that were saying they were delivering to Corsica. Realize you are in Corsica, we can't deliver you. So these are the approximate idea, just to give you an idea of what it means. This week I was in Sofia. So I asked Google, once again, how long and how much it would cost me to go from Brussels, where I live, to Sofia. So the cost was 250 euro at the date and time I needed, and for a distance, which I suppose is the same if I take a car or if I take a plane. And the duration of the trip by car was 19 hours, 39 minutes. I'm very happy to tell you it's quicker to use the plane, because for the same time, the same traveling was 19 hours and 37 minutes, so a gain of 2 minutes. Why? Because poor connection, because of the lack of frequencies, lack of airline serving this destination. And the cost was 1,000 euro for exactly the same trip. I had to change the date of my trip. So these are, for a business traveler or for someone who wants to do business, these are 2 examples of what connectivity means. So now I'm getting to the core of our presentation today. Some key facts on the importance of aviation for economic development. If aviation were a country, the GDP would be 1 trillion euro, and it would be the 21st richest country in the world, they say. In Europe, aviation provides 150,000 city pairs connections, the possibility to go from one city to the other. One job at an airport provides 2.1 jobs outside the airport. That's for the positive aspects of the positive impact of aviation economy. The majority of regional airports, according to the airports, have 6 million passengers a year. Over 60% of the airports are not profitable. There is another sentence which is yield is a king. Yield is a king. It means that if an airline, if a route is not profitable, an airline will stop operating it. In terms of connectivity and in terms of involvement of the regional governments like us, it means that there is a very high volatility of a key factor for economic development. And you have to know that in Europe there are a little bit of more than 400 airports. ACI, which is the Federation of European Airports, has 405 airports. 75 are served only by regional airlines. It gives you an idea also of the importance of all actors in the aviation. We are going to speak about the big ones. You have a map here, which I extracted from a map where you have all the flights in the world. The bad part is only Europe. And where it's more in blue, it's a hub, the place where you get connected, where you can have a connection and a change of flight. At the moment, there is a global consensus to say that the hub business model is in danger, that it's more and more complicated. How is that? The airports are the main hub airports in the EU are congested. If you look back to the map, you will see that 2 maps, it's the same cities that we are talking about. Why are they in danger? First, there is a very strong environmental capacity crunch. So maybe that's what they call on Twitter a first world problem or a rich people problem, but as a matter of fact, when you look at what's happening in Frankfurt, they have a brand new runway, but the night flights have been forbidden. When you see in the case of Heathrow, there's no possibility to grow more the aviation because of the people live nearby, they can't stand it any longer. Same problem in Roissy. In Schiphol, the growth of air traffic has been stopped for several years. Okay? That's what I call an environmental capacity crunch. Then you have a problem of saturation, congestion of the infrastructure. Yes, by many aspects, the infrastructures, today's airports are no longer answering to the need. You can't fit more passengers. You have not enough runways, you have not enough infrastructure to handle all the luggage, etc., etc. Another threat for the business model of the hubs is the rise of the low-cost carriers. 10 years ago, the low-cost carriers in 2000 were representing 5% of the EU traffic. At the moment, they are representing 35% of the traffic, which means that the legacy carrier, the Air France, KLM, the Lufthansa, the Iberia, are more and more fragile because they are making less and less money. It's a different business model. It's a point-to-point. You will never be guaranteed to catch another flight when you are traveling with a low-cost carrier. When this is a guarantee that you have when you're in a hub. But it's very good for the local economy of the regions that have that aircraft, that airline. But it's a fact to keep in mind when you are thinking about it. And if I say to you Etihad, Emirates, Qatar Airways, these are airlines that are taking passengers up in Dubai, which means that once again the legacy carrier are attacked on that side. So I've been talking of the connectivity from the large hubs, and I've been telling you how much it is in danger. Now, the regional connectivity. The feeder function is attacked, as I mentioned earlier, by the Middle Eastern carriers. Also, high-speed train, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but high-speed train are also catching the clients of the regional airports. You can see with this table that the regional connectivity of 11% in the last 10 years. So it means that you have less flight coming from a regional airport than before. Plus, the number of flights is not enough, the size of the airport, and because one image is worth a lot of words, that's a regional airport, which is called Nice. It's French Riviera, very touristic area, to answer your question. You can see how accessible it is by car in 200 minutes. Important for Nice to be accessible by plane. So, what does it mean? I've pictured the situation. What does it, because after all, I'm not here to talk only about my own clients. For the EU, we have the issue of the sustainability of aviation. Several texts and laws and legislation are being discussed, and sometimes heavily discussed. The emission trading scheme, the noise policy, or rather the lack of noise policy, the passenger rights, the cleaner aircraft policies, where we're spending a lot of money in research to have cleaner aircraft. The challenge is also to maintain the role of Europe in the global the world, the globe, and I said to you, where are we? What is the EU doing? There is the visiting airlines are forbidding passengers to have more than one bag. You have security and safety rules, you have ground handling rules. Then the last challenge is to maintain the cohesion so that we don't focus only on the regions that are already wealthy. And what do we do there? There's a white paper and a proposal on the attribution of slots. What are the challenges for Tbilisi? So if any of the data that I'm giving you is wrong, blame Wikipedia, because that's where I got the data from, and it gives you the opportunity to update it. These are the airlines serving Tbilisi. With an asterisk, those are the airlines which were marked will be serving Tbilisi as of spring this year. And I've highlighted in yellow the large international hubs. It's to mention your connectivity to large hubs in the world. So if you put that in a map, more or less, I did it myself, so sorry about that. You have London, you would have Istanbul, you would have Dubai, and you would have Doha. So yes, you're not badly connected to the rest of the world. I did not have the data related to the frequencies of the traffic, but I know regional airports that are in a worse situation. Oops, have I said it? Yes, I've said regional airport. Because from an outsider perspective, the traffic has doubled, almost doubled in the last years, but it's still around 1 million euro, which also is not passengers a year. Yes, sorry about that. So from our perspective, it's a performing regional airport because the traffic has doubled, but where connectivity remains crucial for the economic development of the area. And I think my conclusion will be exactly in the same light as what Mr. Maifo has been saying before. Connectivity, attractivity is a global context, but you can't do it without aviation, without performing airports. So, what are the regions doing at the moment? Within our membership, we have some examples of what the regions are doing to work on the global context. They are doing what we call territorial marketing. And I have two kinds of examples of territorial marketing. When the region are trying to brand a specific economic development, and I'm in Paris, you have also the Aerotropolis concept, which has been developed by Memphis. No, they are not a member of my organization. Connect Stockholm, Gothenburg, or co-branding initiative with the airlines. Sometimes you take the plane, and in the plane you see, visit Mallorca. So these are initiatives being done to brand the region. So I have no miracle solution, as mentioned, no silver bullet, but the role of my organization is to provide decision makers like you with tools to think and tools to debate, and that's why I think the floor is yours. Thank you.